Get ready. Hold tight. It's
Hold on to
happening.
your hats, boys.
Libas.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want goals.
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. But it's a special episode this week because it's international football. No one likes international football. We've got nothing to preview, nothing to review. Sorry. So it's a Q&A special. So Dan, Stevie, how are we doing, guys?
I thought I was going to get a minute countdown to decompress before you press go. So I'm a little bit bereft at the minute. I'm like, well, normally I get like a good minute and a half to sit and chuff on my vape and sip some juice. But I'm all right. I'm in. I'm locked in.
Do you know why that is? Because the video clips for the start is not got the right intro on. So whoever set that up.
We don't normally do these live. That's what it is.
Is that what it is? Apologies. Good evening. Like I say, we're going to get right into the Q&A. Please, if you're watching live, please get your questions in. Nothing is off the table. Is that right, chaps? Should we say that?
I don't know about that.
And if you're listening or watching this on repeat or streaming, then please put your answers to the questions in the comments. That'll be mint, and we'll have a good laugh at them after. Yeah, guys. Stevie, are you okay? You're looking a bit tired there, mate. Hard day.
No, it's been all right. Contrary to what I've just said off air, honestly. No, it's good. Mondays are Mondays, aren't they? And I get it. We chat about the lack of football on an international break, but from my point of view, I'm going to pull back the curtain. The football's on in the background. If you're at home and you're undecided as to what to do, stick the football on mute. Nobody wants to listen to people commentating about Marcus Rashford.
Sam Matterface specifically.
Yeah. My God. Come and get involved with us. Have a bit of bants. But yeah, ready for Easter holidays next week. Let's do it. Let's go.
As always, you guys, you know the questions, but you don't know which order they're going to come in, do you? So
that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Do you?
Do I? No, I don't even. I don't. Right, we'll start off with an easy one. And one that no doubt Dan will probably expand on a little bit. So we've had a question from Arbroath Owl on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So here we go. What would you do to improve the pre-match and half-time entertainment? Dan, I'll come to you first. So pre-match, we saw on the derby that the fan zone reopened, should we say, for the summer. Mm-hmm. So there's one. But yeah, go on, Dan. How would you tackle the pre-match and half-time entertainment?
I think given the conversations that we've had, I feel like Sheffield Wednesday's got an issue, or Hillsborough Stadium's got an issue in terms of space and what they can actually do. So, for example, when you and I went to Middlesbrough on Boxing Day, they've got those big open spaces around it. Derby County's got it because it's in the middle of a car park. You know what I mean? Sheffield Wednesday's in the middle of a housing estate, right? So you kind of you govern for space and you govern via licensing laws and stuff like that. So in terms of pre-match entertainment, I feel like in terms of the fan zone, I don't think they can do much more to what they did. I mean, they put toilets in different places. They put bar in different. The queuing system's different. There was a food outlet there this time round. There's definitely thought process behind it. I think it's great. I love that they're thinking about it. There wasn't just this big one long grotesque queue putting people off going in there. There was genuinely space for people to mill around and meet the pals and that type of thing. Great. But in terms of pre-match entertainment, there used to be cheerleaders. There used to be, light shows. There used to be, I feel like we've lost a lot of that over the years. And I feel like, there's an element of societal things and stuff like that. Having a couple of busty cheerleaders isn't really the progressive thought process that we're in nowadays. And rightly so, don't get me wrong. It's not like I sit there pining for the old days. But I felt like if there was going to be something pre-match, let's get, like they do I think do it at NFL games. They do it at some of the Champions League games where they get the the desk at the side of the pitch while the team's warming up behind them, and they're doing the pre-match interviews, and they're playing that sound on the screen and around the stadium. There's some analysis there. There's some thoughts to process, and we could probably get an ex-player, for example. So, you get Kirsty Quaco or whatever her name is, Samantha Queck, and she's going, oh yeah, or whoever the fella is that reads out the team names from, is it Andy that reads out the team names before the game? He could be stood there doing a bit of back and forth with somebody with a bit of history in Sheffield Wednesday, something to keep people entertained, because at the minute there is not a lot going on, and all we're doing is focusing on how long the queues are for the beer, and there's no incentive to get into that ground early, because you think, well, it'll just be busy anyway. I might try and get a pint out here, and I might try and get some food out here, or the kids don't want to sit around in the stadium, or because there's nothing going on. Do you know what I mean? And the second one, this is a weird one. When they announced the team, I kind of want them to do it in like that big European style where they say the first name and we all chant the second name back. I don't know why, but I think all the Wednesday Dars would be a bit angry about it. Like, we'll go, and number 2, Liam, and everyone goes, Palmer! You know what I mean? Right? And that'll just be Stevie on his arm.
Yeah. Something like that, though. I've seen it before online and everything. The opposition fans or rivals and think, oh, how Tim Pot's that, how Tim Pot. But because it's not a thing, like you've just said, Europe, they do it virtually everywhere. That is a thing. But because you try and do something a bit different, I imagine people go, bloody hell, God, look at that.
What's all that? Tim Pot. Don't like change.
What about you, Stevie? Pre-match and halftime entertainment. How would you attack it?
I kind of disagree with Dan in the sense that, well, I agree.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Early start, 6 minutes in.
I agree with him in the sense that there's not a great deal to do outside, and you're kind of hamstrung and restricted. But at the same time, I do think there's enough space, and I know we've talked about this, I think, previously, whether that be privately or on here, the location of the fan zone in the car park area itself. And I think there's enough space on a match day in there to roll out a more substantive fan zone to what we've got. And I think that there is enough going on in the local community to make it just a better experience. So I've gone from this question from a point of view that if we were to have a fan zone, how would we make it better? And we have the fellow, I can't remember what his surname is, Matt. He was on Sunday, had a bit of a technical malfunction with his music, but he's been on there quite a lot recently. It feels like, and this is no disrespect to the bloke, it feels like he's the guy that they just wheel out every week to play the live music. He plays the same songs and he stands at the side of the bar. Again, not criticism. He wants to get his stuff out there. Absolutely fine. I think we could be more. And I think when we were in League One, and I know the setup was different, we had more live bands playing on top of the bar area there, didn't we? On top of the container. And my understanding is there's been some sort of change in terms of who we were leasing those facilities and that equipment from, which has meant that we can't do that anymore. Fine. However, from a match day experience, let's get more live bands, more variety. I wouldn't be averse to a decent DJ set, and I don't mean let's get back into Gatecrasher or something like that, but just something to get people pumping and get it going. Why do we need match day experiences pre-match? We need them because we get bored waiting. So let's make it as entertaining as possible, but at the same time, let's see if we can involve the community. So I went over to Rotherham, talked about this a while back. They get community initiatives that are having stalls that are in and around it. So you're catering for a certain type of clientele. You're catering for a certain type of customer that might want to go and experience that, go and have a look at it. Just keep me entertained. Give me something that I can go and stick my eyes on before the game. But the big one for me, and we've talked about it again privately, why on earth are we not tapping into the resource that we've got at that club? For me, I take Molly down. If Molly went to the fan zone and had, I don't know, he's been out injured, for Maywell wandering about the place, or Bernard wandering about, or an opportunity to meet somebody, one of the players before the game, I think that'd be a really, really good experience for the youngsters, and maybe doing some sort of live interviews and entertainment. I don't know if there's somebody somewhere in the not too distant vicinity from where we are that'd be able to potentially just say, right, I'm going to jump on a mic and I'm going to give a little bit of a sort of the fans' opinion in terms of the experiences that we could offer on match days, and that's not us going into business for ourselves. If they've got an idea about somebody that might want to do that, then absolutely fine, crack on. But I just think there needs to be more to get your eyes on, more to get your ears around, more competitions, more opportunities to get involved in stuff.
I will wholeheartedly agree with everything you say there, Stevie. It does need looking at, and it needs looking at by people who are going to take it on and try and do something for the fans. We've had a couple of comments. Cy Hodgkinson, what we need is more fan interaction. Someone to interview fans before the game, play reruns of games, competition for kids to win stuff, vouchers. List is endless.
And it's not expensive, Ash, is it? Sorry,
go on.
I was just going to say, the stuff that we're suggesting isn't expensive. It doesn't cost a great deal to say to one of our players, come and get involved, or come and get yourself down here. They do it in the grandstand, don't they? And they'll get the players in the family zones and what have you. Why not? Why can't we have those guys milling around beforehand? That's not going to cost us anything. How much would it cost us to potentially just say, right, you're going to walk, even if it's just walk the pitch experience off the top of my head, you're going to get a fan who's going to get to walk at 5 to 3, the four corners of the pitch, take it all in while the players are coming out and whatever else. It's a nothing thing that doesn't cost anything other than a security guard walking around with them. For a 10-year-old kid, that would make their day, it make their weekend. I was on the pitch at this point, blah, blah, blah. They're all easy and quick wins that could improve the morale of the fan base around the place before we kick off.
Any quick suggestions for a halftime challenge? Because I mean, we've had Steve and Charlie have undertook the halftime challenge, dizzy penalties, and the one where you run and score, then run to the next ball.
Try not to fall over.
Try not to fall over. Is that good enough for halftime? I mean, we've all been
local band,
games.
3 songs. That's all it needs. That's all it needs. Just a local band, 3 songs. Just get whatever varying ranges of fame, stuff like that. I'm not saying a halftime show. I'm talking a couple of geezers in the middle of the pitch, see if we can get some people singing and get their new single out. Just something different, because all this. Right, then we've got John. He's from halfway. He's gonna run round pitch, and he's gonna take a penalty, and he's fell over. That was funny 30 years ago. You know what I mean? It's a bit.
Yeah, we did have. I think it was towards the end of last season, was it? No, or the season before. In the little triangle, what's all the no seats now. We had a band in there. I'm sure. I'm sure we did. Someone can correct me, but I'm sure. And I think
we did.
What's John McClure did a DJ?
Was it the Sherlocks, mate?
It may have.
I think it was the Sherlocks. Yes. I've literally said what Dan has just said. I've said the same thing. Get a band, get a little stage set up on the northwest corner, direct your eyes that way. You could even have stuff going on the pitch, the players warming up and whatever else at half time. It wouldn't impact on what's happening there if you've got a band that's playing in that northwest corner, and then it has some sort of purpose, even if it's temporary. We've got something that you can divert your eyes to that way. Again, half-time wise, get stuff going on in the concourse. It's very difficult to sort of talk about it without going into the age-old debate of queues, cash points or pay points and everything else. Trying to avoid that, but what can we do on the concourse to improve the experience? Have we got a player that can walk at halftime? Have we got something that's going on? Have we got a competition that you can go and get involved in? Go and drop your name into something for a draw or something like that at halftime that will get people just to interact and engage a little bit better.
But then I suppose I'm seeing it the other side. I know not everyone wants to do it, but at halftime, that is probably where the club want people to go and queue up for 1 beer, because you can't get 2 in the Cop anyway at half time. But you know what I mean? They want you to go there and spend your money rather than stand
There's
there.
an element of that, but not
so
everybody.
I get I know. Yeah, of course. And for something, you have got to cater to everybody. People want to go for a beer, they'll go at 35 minutes to get a couple, won't they? Or go and get a pie or whatever. But then people who don't might want to listen to music. So, yeah, I get that. It's... Excuse me, I'm just reading some. Right.
It's the end of that sentence.
Sorry. I've got a thing on. I'm terrible, mate. It's been a day. It's been a day for me, I tell you. Right, here we go. Next one. Aaron Johnson. Thank you, Aaron, for your question. What's your favourite Greg's bake? The correct answer is obviously chicken.
I
Now,
mean, you're
for-
wrong,
for-
but I respect your opinion.
For anyone who follows Dan on his social media, you probably guessed that he likes one or two Gregs. Pre and post gym?
I try not to do it pre, but defo post every day. There's a fella
He
on
gets
Shizukai Street. Go on.
You get the offers. The highlight of the weekend is you getting your free Gregs and then screenshotting the email and then posting it in the chat.
Right. So if you haven't got the Greg's app, get it. It's dope. Imagine you know, like your Costa Coffee things, right? Where you have to collect like 6 and you get a free coffee, right? Like they have that in like 4 different categories. You've got like sweet treats, bakes, which include sausage rolls, breakfast items, and drinks, right? And so, depending on how you're switching it up, you can just earn points in various ones. So every now and again, get myself a free sausage roll kit. I say every now and again, weekly. So I've got this thing, right? They've got this weird thing that they do. I don't know if they do it up north, right? But when you walk up and go sausage roll, please, they now go pork sausage roll, yeah. Like, because they don't call a bread cake a bread cake. They think you're after a sausage sandwich, right? So down there, a sausage roll has 2 meanings. Because he went pork sausage roll. No, fucking beef. What are you talking about? I couldn't understand what he was asking me. You know what I mean? And yeah, so now I go sausage roll, please. Pork, yeah. Now he stopped asking. I go there quite a lot. But there's this wonderful old fella that works at the one that I go to, and he has he must have a box of like costumes. This week he's had on Wonder Woman costume. He still gets Greg's uniform underneath. Jesus in his like early 60s, skinny old fella. And I tell you what, he's wonderful. I wish I talk about engaging with every customer, knows everything, caught my Wednesday badge, and now he looks out for the Wednesday scores and talks to me about it. You know what I mean? When I go in, he's absolutely wonderful. Get the Greg's app, and they're on a commission as well. So get it.
Well,
what's the question?
What's your favorite bake? Greg's bake.
Sausage, bean, and cheese. Elite tackle.
My local Greg's, the one I live, is part of a petrol station. So when I had a diesel car and I had to fill up, it was low. But now I've got an electric. I don't go to the service station, petrol station, so I don't need them to. So if I'm going to Greg's
losing weight,
6 in the morning, I'm going to Greg's. It's not like I'm filling my car up. I might as well have a coffee and something here while I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah.
So I go. So I've been trying not to do it, and then the app, great, Dan. I echo what you're saying, but my wife and me have got the same account, so you double up. So
who's collecting the points? Who's collecting the free gift?
They're all one. So it's just the same app. So you both collect it, and it just goes on to. So whoever gets there first gets the free bit. But I got caught out. Dangerous. I got caught out because I went at like 6 in the morning on the way to work last week before, and obviously paid and all that. Like business paid for it as well, so it didn't cost me anything. And then at night I sat there, and Vicky went, "Have a Greg's this morning?" I went, "Yeah." She went, "Yeah, I got the notification saying we got a free hot chocolate." I was like, "Oh, you've been 9 times." Yeah, outed me. But I agree with you, Dan. I don't really like the bakes, but if I had to gun to my head, it would be a sausage, bean, and cheese. Stevie?
I'm going to be really boring. I don't eat a lot of Greg's, but I do like steak bake.
Steak bake.
That's a surprising answer, Stevie, for no other reason than I didn't have you down as a steak guy.
It's better than chicken, Dan.
God damn it. Speaking of chicken, actually, if you get a big enough Greg's now, I'm now a connoisseur of Greg's. They now do like a McChicken style sandwich and with like lettuce in it and stuff like that. And Craig's been on, says Greg's coffee is elite. Can confirm, 100% true, for 10 out of 10, no notes. And they do like this. If you get the opportunity you can upgrade it. You can get some potato wedges as well. Can confirm, absolute banger.
Not a huge fan of their breakfast baps, if I'm honest with you.
Stevie's wrong, but Alan Greg's, if you are watching, give us a shout. We are up for some sponsorship.
If you're willing to sponsor us, I'll eat anything.
Yeah. And that's quite ironic from what some fans and our own fans have been calling our manager. So if we, as a Sheffield Wednesday podcast, got sponsored by Greggs, that would be quite funny. That would be a thing of
I'd enjoy that.
It'd be good, that.
Oh, send them an email, Ash. Send them an email. Can only ask, right?
Yeah, why not? Any other suggestions? Get your comments in who we could get sponsored by.
Jägermeister.
Only if it's an away day, yeah. Sorry, Gary, I didn't get your surname, but in our LMS chat, which is a great source of humor. Yeah. He's come on. It's
humiliation.
Yeah, it is for me. Beadle / Charles debate. Not going up, not going down. Are we not going up? Still there, aren't we? We're not going up. So is it time to train our own young players? So I know, I think it must have been about 3 or 4 months ago when we did one of these Q&As, we did touch on the Pierce Charles. Dan wanted to sell him for 10 million type of all this sort of shenanigans. But this is a slightly different question, obviously coming towards the end of the season. Stephen, where do you sit on this one? With 8 games left to go of the Sheffield Wednesday season, we're not going down, but we may still be going up, as in we still have a sniff. So, what's your thoughts?
I don't see the merit of changing now, if I'm honest with you. And I think it's a strange time of the season, given everything that we're talking about at the moment, to suddenly turn around and suggest that based on, and this is, again, no disrespect to Pierce Charles, because I absolutely expect him to be our number 1 next year. And I expect us, or I would love for us to be able to tie him down and be that player that we've talked about in terms of moving him on. If we're following that Brentford model of buying and selling our assets to become that kind of club. He's the guy, excuse me, he's the guy before Gassama that we were talking about, isn't he? With everything that he's got a phenomenal pedigree. He absolutely has. We can talk about the debates around whether or not he's tall enough, he's big enough. Based on, and again, to go back to my original point with the greatest respect, based on his ability to kick the ball better than any other goalkeeper that we've seen in recent times, I don't think that's quite enough yet to put him in over Beadle. Not because I think Beadle's a better goalkeeper. I just think for the way that we are with the team at the minute, I think we've got to keep Beadle in. I think it's too much of a risk to put a young goalkeeper who's not yet been a number 1 in at this stage of the season and expect him to carry that burden. If he goes in and he proved me wrong, absolutely fine, and I'll be the first person to pat him on the back and go, that's absolutely brilliant. However, I don't think now is the time to be changing the goalkeeper.
Daniel, what's your thoughts on this? I know you'd like alluded to in reading out the question that you had some pretty strong opinions on this debate, but it is a slightly different angle.
Yeah, like the goalposts have moved, haven't they? Right. So back when we spoke about this in November, I was like, cash in on him. His stock's high. Get money. Get mults. Let's do it. Anybody who plays Balatro on their phone, they'll know what I mean. Stack mults. But like I said, the goalposts have changed, and everything's relative to where you are at the time. When I talk about this point, if you were a Nottingham Forest fan, you'd now be disappointed if you didn't get Champions League football now, right? You know what I mean? Whereas at the start of the season, you'd have gone, sure up, you silly clown. We just want to finish mid-table. Like, things change as it moves on. However, I think because we've sat his ass on the bench for 3 months since the last time we spoke about this, I don't think his stock is high anymore. And I think it could be higher after international breaks, after international tournaments, after international qualifying campaigns and all the rest of it. So keep hold for the time being, because he's going to be worth more when he plays more. Could he have been worth 5 million back in November when we had those international breaks and all the rest of it, and everybody was talking about how great it was? Maybe. Is he worth that now? No, he ain't. He's just a reserve goalkeeper in the championship, mid-table championship team, which is, terrible to say, don't get me wrong, but it is what it is, yeah?
I don't know. I do I do believe Charles is going to be number one next season. So would you rather him be number one in a mid-table team that we are now, say, for 8 games, and have that experience? Because I think a lot of thing that's been thrown at Pierce Charles is that he's not had the experience. He's played in the League Cup, hasn't he, a couple of times?
Yeah.
He's not actually playing the league yet, so he's not tasted that sort of atmosphere, that sort of game. I know international, someone will shout that he plays international, but I'm saying at Hillsborough and away games. I think Craig's put it here, and I don't know whether, I think I'm more in Craig's camp here. Craig says, I think until it's completely out of sight, playoffs he means, stick with Beadle. If with 4 games left, it's mid-table, play Charles.
Sensible.
And I think I'm with that, because what you're going to get if Stevie disagrees a bit, but no, off the shake your head. But I think if you've got 4 games left, what is the point in playing Beadle? You might as well give Pierce Charles 4 games against mid-table teams as well, aren't they? I think we've got.
Yeah.
Portsmouth, Watford. I can't remember the Blackburn, is it? I think, and someone the last Middlesbrough. They are. So you've got 3 out of the 4 games, maybe top 12 teams.
Yeah, but my other thing there is there's been a lot of noise being made around our ownership and our chairman over recent days and the last week or so. From a business standpoint, if playing Pierce Charles versus Beadle means that we could finish, and it could be this crazy, we could finish 6th or we could finish 13th. You want to finish as close to 6th as possible, don't you? Let's say we chuck him in with 4 games to play because we think we're out of the playoffs, and he stinks the joint up. What does that look for him? What does that look like for him going into pre-season and then going into next year with him, whoever's in charge?
I can't believe we've flip-flopped on this, Stevie, because like when we spoke about it 3 months ago, I was like, what if he comes in and he stinks the joint up? And you were like, nah, he'll retain it. Let's get him in.
I don't believe for a second that he will. I actually, when I was shaking my head earlier on, I actually disagree. I still think he's worth a shit ton of money. I think he's an absolute saleable asset, and I think given that he's got time on his contract yet, for me personally, with the best will in the world, get him as much money as he possibly can on a contract to tie him down for even longer, because that makes him a more saleable asset. However, I still think he needs a year, 2 years with us, whatever level we're playing at, as the number 1 goalkeeper. I rate him that highly. The bits that I've seen of him, I just don't think now is the time to be putting in this player in the situation that we're in. And we also, I think, from a moral point of view, and people will be up in arms when I say this, from a moral point of view, dropping Beadle, I just don't know if it's the right thing to do in terms
He's
of
on
player
loan. I don't
development.
give a bollocks. He don't play for
But
us.
when I say this from a player development point of view, we have a duty of care to look after the players that we've got on loan.
Right. So we send him back if we're not playing him and not paying him anymore.
With 4 games left. With 4 games left.
Save ourselves 4 weeks worth of wages. You know what I mean? It might cover up the prize money that we miss out on because we finished 13th because Pierce Charles has stunk the joint up.
I have no.
Stick with Beadle. I just think stick with Beadle.
So Stevie, stick with Beadle. Dan, are you on the same as Craig, where he said about depending, obviously. Then again, yeah. Well, I was going to say I'm more on the thing with Craig, but then again, if you think you think Charles is good enough to play the last 4 games, you obviously think he's good enough to play 8. What you're saying is he's not a playoff. He's not a top half goalkeeper. To me, that's what it means, doesn't it?
Can I offer one last viewpoint? I'm sorry.
Please do. No. Sorry, all right. No.
We are talking about what's the biggest hang up that we've got at the moment is, and I'd argue this, and there might be people that want to comment on this as well. I think we would be more accepting of not getting into the top 10 if we knew that the manager and his coaching staff were going to be around for the full season next year, because we rate them that highly. If we knew, I personally would take finishing 10th, 11th, 12th if Danny Rule, Chris Powell, Sacha Lenza, Pedersen, the lot of them, we're all going to be here next year, and we're going to go, right, we'll give it a renewed push, and we'll go again, and we'll see if we can do even better next year than we've done this year. If that's the case, then we're saying that we absolutely trust this management team and this coaching setup. That includes Sal Bibbo, who is the goalkeeping coach. Now, between them, Bibbo, Pedersen, Rule, Lenza, are all looked at it and gone, right, Beadle's our number one. So if Beadle's our number one, we've got to trust this coaching setup that's saying that he's the one.
Christ, I honestly, it went to the last 5 words. I thought, what the fuck are you talking about?
I can look at your face and you're sat there going,
yeah, what the fuck is it? The question was, hey, do you play Pierce Charles? If you would have offered the fans that would have been a lot more accepting of the coaching team. What the sweet child
it's
of
a
avocado
trusting
beans on steak bake is he talking about until right at the end where he went, and we trust him. All right, cool. Man likes manager. Tick.
I don't think it's just the fans know that Danny's going to be here next season. I think there's going to be a lot of players that don't sign that contract until they've got concrete evidence that.
But what about Pierce Charles?
Simon Oakes put a comment. We need to be careful messing lone players around. I think we've got a good reputation for treating them well at the moment. We're going to need some good ones again next season. I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think
is it? I lost interest
sensible.
Halfway through your sentence. If that's what you're saying, I get it.
Oh
Put some adverts on, Ash. Put some adverts.
Yeah, sure. Good.
Chris Rock's going to tell you something.
So it sounds.
Yeah, as the guys say on 31 minutes and 53 seconds, here's some ads trying to sell you something. Oh, geez, we're back into the second half. If you missed that first half, well.
Stevie was talking the whole time through those adverts. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if we caught the back end of them, telling us about Pierce Charles, and somehow was talking about the tea lady. Don't know what was going on.
And I've just snorted on the podcast.
It's all right. I won't edit it out. You're all right. Right. Andy McElwain. Apologies, Andy, for pronouncing your name wrong. Netflix are currently making a film about Wednesday. They're not, but I think this is just the way he's phrased the question. So don't anyone get comments in or anything. They have a blank check of which actors play our players. So any current player in the squad, and who would play returning legends, i.e., and Andy's gone with Richard Gere will play David Hurst.
Richard Gere, David Hurst. I've got umbrage with that. That's John Hamm. Jot that down for one. I saw somebody comment earlier on Chesney from Coronation Street dancing on ice, famous Barry Bannon. Big fan of that. Did enjoy that. I wanted to suggest who was the kid played Adam Rickett as Aidan Flint. You know, like let's say that the film is about the Peterborough comeback. You know what I mean? And we could go.
We should have. Yeah, we should.
Yeah. 8 dimple Lego brick is Akin for Maywo. Just be all right. Same acting chops. It'd be fine. What suggestions have you lads got?
I got Mr. Tickle for Beadle. I don't know. Brilliant. He's just got long arms, hasn't he?
I was trying to think who played the Joker. I was like the computer Arkham Asylum version of the Joker without no makeup on could play James Beadle, but you know he's not a real person.
Oh, Mr. Tickle. Go on, Steve.
He's a myth.
Yeah.
I tell you the one that stuck with me, and this is going to be absolutely crazy. And it's
here we go, kids. Strap in.
I was like, I'm thinking Pato.
Right.
Oh, no.
And he's got this. He's just got this mannerism about him, and he's just got this bizarre sense of humour. And he had that tash during November, and he's a little bit aged in terms of the way that he looks. So I'm thinking an old bloke with a tash that has got the bants about him, and you're going to think I'm absolutely batshit crazy. All I could think of was Burt Reynolds in Cannonball Run.
Do you know what? I don't disagree. I thought you were going to say Sean, like 70s, 80s Sean Connery. You know what I mean? Because
No.
he's Scottish. You're best. Like, you know what I mean? I thought you were.
Burt Reynolds in Cannonball Run with that laugh that he does.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. Good one.
That's where I went.
Good one.
And obviously,
In fact, we should offer this one to the punters. Actually, we should offer this one.
get it
you
out
know what I
there.
mean? Put this out there. Put this out. Ask them because they're mental out there.
Yeah, I will stick it on the X, the Twitter. But yeah, any comments? Like I say, if you want to offer up your Hollywood actors, actresses, please do.
We all know that Liam Palmer is going to be played by Denzel Washington, though.
Fucking hellfire.
I was going to try and banter with you and agree, but I made myself laugh. I could, sound idea. Cool.
I was trying to think of one for Chris Waddle. So I was looking and I went back to like the 80s and his hair, and I just based it on his hair, and I just went for like Jason Donovan from Neighbours, you know, with the mullet, and I was like, but that's just purely on hair. That's not on sporting ability, no doubt, or anything that looks like him. So I'm a bit thing on that one.
The one that we have to mention, though, the one that we have to say is Mackenzie Crook, Gareth Keenan from The Office as Graham Hyde. That has to happen. That, you know what I mean? Even if he just comes in and goes, I was in a motorbike race last night, and then just leaves, I'm all right with it. Hello, Gareth. Hello, Graham Hyde. Cock. Brilliant.
What about if I just go through some of the squad we've got?
Quick fire round. Quick
fire round. So let's go. Deshaun Bernard.
Mr. T.
Oh.
Who did you say, Stevie?
Deshaun Bernard, Mr. T.
No,
I didn't say anything. Deshaun Bernard.
That big long pause has ruined the quick fire round, ladies and gents. Point.
It's got me. Dan wins that one.
Marvin Johnson. Marvin Johnson.
Oh, one of Cheech and Chong.
I don't even know what that is. Is that like
It's one of the guys. The guy stands outside the nightclub going, "Come on in, pussy lover." It's a titty twister at the Industrial One.
Apple pie. Yeah.
Can I give one more?
Yes.
Before you put Hergel McMurgle's comment up, I genuinely I can't see. I've got this thing where in my head, Samuel L. Jackson looking really angry could look like Dominic Iorfa.
Brilliant. I thought you were going to go on, if it's a Netflix movie, Samuel L. Jackson will play Danny Roll, and I thought that'll just anger the dads. I thought that's what you were going to say.
He was going to be my next one. I was going to say Danny Roll. I was going to say, who could you come up for?
There's a guy called Daniel. I think he's called Daniel Brühl or something like that, right? He plays Nicky Lauda in the is it called Rush? You know what I mean? The guy that goes, "Well, you call me a rat." You know what I mean? He's also in Inglourious Bastards, right? He's in that movie. I think he'd be great. He'd be a great Danny Roll. Correct accent and everything.
So we've had a suggestion in from Hergel McCurgle, and it's Dizzy Rascal for Big Dish.
Head splits like a banana. Yeah, man. Let's get him in.
Bonkers.
There was a Dizzy Rascal song I've tried to learn all the words to. I can't remember what it is now. It weren't Bonkers. I think it was Dance With Me. And I can't remember any of it. I was going to give you a rendition of it now, but you're going to have to. No, it's gone. Sorry, lads. I'll do it. This is like when I did my Butlins audition to Blackstreet No Diggity again, isn't it? This is, or Blackstreet Don't Leave. You know what I mean? I'm just. Is it not culturally appropriate for me to sing these songs? Is that what's happening, or do you just think they'll sound terrible?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah, sometimes maybe good.
So, following on from this question, we asked this question in the WhatsApp Last Man Standing group chat. So we put it in, and quite a few people put on. But then I said, why don't we flip it, and why don't you pick Hollywood actors that play the podcasters? So
John Hamm.
Do you think? Who do you think would play each one of us? Not just us, the whole gang. Holly, Chaz, Sai, and John.
All right.
So please, in your comments, please get in who you think would make good thing. I have got, and shout out to Stu Williams, who does contribute quite a lot on here, and he's in the chat, who's come up with his suggestions, and I'm going to run through them. Right. Bear with me. Stevie is played by Will Smith.
Yes!
Right.
I'll take it.
I feel
Game
like you're
over.
building something here. Go on.
Daniel is played by Scott from Five.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Charlie is played by Renée Zellweger.
What, doing a scrunch lip mouth routine?
All right.
And Lee,
You're going to offend Holly here, aren't you, or something, aren't you?
No. Simon, it's not Santa. He's going to be played by David Jason. Only Fools and Horses fame. I mean, I don't know why. We've had a couple of questions, a couple of answers in on the comments. We've got Simon's put in Dan Fudge, Max Headroom.
Brilliant.
And,
I used to have hair like that.
And Craig said Holly Anne Hathaway.
She'll take it.
I think
She'll probably take it. Charlie Florence Pugh. Oh, great one. I tell you what, though, we've already squared this up for us three, though, because it's obviously, and it's from right to left. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Robert Downey Jr. Would be a great way to play us in a movie. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the internet.
Have you got the graphic? Get the graphic.
I don't think I've got the graphic anymore. I did make it, didn't I?
It'll be in the group chat.
No,
I'll
I got
continue
it.
before I find it. Anna Kendrick plays Holly.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Simon Pegg plays John.
Excellent. Yeah, good one.
Yeah, and the rat bastard has got Brian Blessed. Gordon's alive. Plays me.
Brilliant.
So,
Brilliant.
Yeah. Hergel McGurgle's been on and played Surely Simon is More, Nicholas Lyndhurst. David Jason.
Brilliant.
So we've had some. So keep them coming in, and we'll read some out as well. Yeah, that was pretty good, and I think we got more out of the people suggesting us than we did for suggesting players. But,
what do you mean, you people?
Will Smith, though. I'll take that.
I was giving you a hilarious line from the movie Tropic Thunder to double down, but we missed it. Carry on. Play me out, Johnny. Bling, 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 bling.
Right, we've had a question in from John Birch in the comments. So John's put, which players would you let go in the summer? Oof.
Oh God.
Wow. So I think there is quite a number, as there is every year, that players are running out of contract.
Beadle.
So John's. Yeah, so I'll leave that one up. There you go. Yeah. Which players would you let go in the summer? Go on then, Stevie.
Oh, you come to me and you know that I have this existential issue around that man, don't you?
What, John? That's a bit harsh. He just commented on our thing.
The go-to for everybody is going to be my favourite player, isn't he? And whether I agree with that or not, I think my only thing is when it comes to talking about Liam Palmer, I personally, I'm not saying I keep him or get rid of him. I just want to preface the whole conversation by saying it's very difficult to say we keep or release because we don't know where we're going to be in 3 months' time.
Yeah, let's. Why don't we set those parameters? So let's say we are where we are. Mid-table championship, looking to take a push up into the playoffs. Right? Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then the question would be: is Danny here or not? But are we just negating that? Are we negating that, or are we just going to say players for the club rather than who's in charge?
Players for the club, and I'd also the final caveat that let's assume that they're all, within contract, and we're not sort of going right. He's going to go and he's going to go. I would keep Liam Palmer. Obviously, who would I let go in the summer? Controversially, I don't see. I'm getting ready. I don't see how we can sustain an improved push for the top 6 or higher with our main striking threat being Michael Smith. I think we
God
need to
Almighty,
have
that was like you farting around the poo there. Sound like Cavi and Darmesh trying to read out a tweet live on Sky Sports News. I think somebody.
I'm sorry. I know.
Farting
Save
around
it
the
for
poo.
off air.
On it.
Save it for off air. Save it for off air. Get rid of Michael
Smith. We've got
Smith.
about 10 players out of contract, right?
Yeah.
So Beadle, he's going. Charles, he's going. Barry Bannon, the contract end this season. Get rid. Michael Smith.
Whoa!
Liam Palmer.
What are you talking about?
He's doing his
Get rid of
list.
Barry Bannon.
He's doing his list to get rid of. Let him finish, man. You've just had your.
I've not finished mine.
Mike Smith, give him of the year. Liam Palmer, get rid. Callum Patterson, keep. He's worked hard enough. Marvin Johnson, 34, get rid. Paul Valentin, Paolo One Trick, get rid. Akin for Maywo, made of Lego and is a Lego brick, get rid. There's better out there.
Stunned to silence there.
Can I come back?
You may come back, Stevie.
How on earth are we going to get rid of all these players and expect to be able, given everything that we've got going on, be able to replace them with as good as or better? It's taken a turn, and I feel that if we park it and we go serious for a minute, I keep Palmer as a squad player. I would, because I think he serves a purpose for what level he's at and where he is. The goalkeepers, the loans, they're going to go. Begrudgingly, that's going to happen. Johnson, I can understand the age and where he is. I caveat what I've just said about Palmer by saying if he's costing as much as I understand that he costs, maybe a little bit less. Smith, go. Ihekwe, go. Bannon, keep. Absolutely keep him. Got to keep him. Stuart Armstrong, keep. You'd need to go up and have a look at it. Valentin, for similar reasons to Palmer, I'd probably keep. I don't think he's a starter, but I think he's an important and integral person in the squad. Jamal Lowe, and done it for me. Let him go. But it is what it is, isn't it?
He's still got a couple of years left, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I would say Jamal Lowe's got a few years left, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm talking are we talking a wish list of the players that are currently in the squad versus players that are going to go? Players that are currently in the squad that we get rid of, or players that are coming up to the end of the contracts and let them go?
I don't know. I stopped listing. I said my list and zoned out a bit. I must admit, it's been a long Monday. You know what I mean? I've also now just flip flopped on Paul Valentin because I kind of agree with you and think actually, you know what, it'd be useful for backup.
Smith,
but I feel that
we've overachieved this year. Jokes aside, we've overachieved this year. Michael Smith has been fantastic. Ihekwe has been fantastic. Johnson, when he's come in, has flattered to deceive and he's operating on a level underneath them. But those players that we're looking at that have ended up playing a lot more football than we expected that they would, I can't fault them. I can't fault Michael Smith. I can't fault Ihekwe. I can't fault Pato. I can't fault these lads that have come in from the outs and then they've come in. However, what I would say is that they wouldn't have been Danny's first choices, and we've seen that and we knew that. And God bless Pato, he's had to wait for months to get his opportunity, and now that he's got it, he's taken it with both hands. But the reality is, had we got what we wanted in January, and had we got what we wanted in terms of players that weren't getting injured and everything else, I don't think he'd have played half as much of the football that he has played this season. But like I said, it is what it is, and he's where he is. What does that mean for next season? Are we going to carry on relying on these players that haven't been in and around the squad in terms of being first choice, or are we just going to say, right, now we need to go and try and improve? And they're the sort of players I'll be looking at to say, might be time to move on.
I think you're right. I think there's one player though that we haven't discussed enough that I wouldn't go as far as saying let me down, but I expected more of at the start of the season, and that was Nathaniel Chalobah. I
Ooh.
don't think he's a shit player. I think he's a good
Ooh.
player, and I think he's got a bit of class around him. But he hasn't played enough football. So what's he doing? Why he's not playing enough football? We know that there was injuries at the start of the season, but since he's back, is this a long recovery? Have we signed a croc? Is it where have we signed somebody who's broken? You know what I mean? I thought I'd see a lot more of. I think there's a player in there. I think there's a quality player in there, and I felt like when he came on against the Blades, I was intrigued to see how he'd fare. You know what I mean? And there's a class in there that a lot of our players don't have. Like watching Chalobah on the pitch at the same time as Pato. Sometimes you're kind of like these. You wouldn't think they're playing the same sport. You know what I mean? The way they move and the way they run around. But what would you do there? What's he not doing?
I think he'd play more football. Sorry, mate.
No, go on.
I was just going to. I think he'd have played more football had it not been for Charles. The Charles Bannon and latterly Armstrong triumvirate there. He's had to bide his time, and I think he's a player that I think I'm excited about retaining for next year because the big headache will be when Shea Charles leaves in 8 games' time. What are we going to do to replace? And if we can keep Chalobah fit, and there is, let's be right, with all things being said and done, he's not played as many games as he has or could have at the highest level because he's not been able to maintain his fitness levels and he's not been able to get a sustained run in a team, which has meant that he's now playing mid-table football with Sheffield Wednesday rather than playing in and around the lower ends of, Brighton, Wolves. I think he's probably, had it been right, it'd have been higher than Southampton and what have you. But it'd been up there in the Premier League, wouldn't he? If we can keep him fit, I think he's a very, very good player for us next year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Stevie. I just think the way that Danny's set up with Bannon and Charles is just restricted Chalobah. Because what I've seen of him as well, he does look quite composed on the ball. He's come on, looks quality. Does look quality. So I just think he's signed him, and obviously at the start of the season he's got injured and it's just not worked, and he's just not been able to fit in. That's purely me. On the who I'd let go and keep situation, I agree with Stevie. There's a hell of a lot of players that I'd love to see leave, but realistically, what things are going on at the club, you can't. So I feel there's going to be a lot of players lucky to still be at Sheffield Wednesday because of the situation that we'll find ourselves. And I think there'll be some players that probably, if we could afford to get 12 new players in or a better caliber of that should leave, that won't leave, they'll be offered another year or 2 years or have that option extended. If they have the +1, and it's horrible to say that because we should be able to swap and change and get out the dead wood to go from, if we finish 10th, to properly being in amongst the top 6. So yeah, there's players that I'd get, but I think there'd be some lucky players. But because you want to ship out, just say ship out Johnson, ship out Iorfa. I don't really agree with Firmino. I think he's been good really good before he got injured. And it's not loads of injuries. He's had one major injury, hasn't he? So I think he's not injury prone for me. I just don't think we've got the money or probably the foresight to get in that extra caliber of player.
Fucking hell, lad! You have absolutely sucked the fun out of that question, haven't you? By being all pragmatic and normal. Well, who are we going to replace him with? Who are we getting rid of? Just fucking.
You got rid of absolutely everybody. Who you kept?
Fuck them.
Man,
Who you
keeping?
Half the squad. Who am I keeping? Let me have a bloody look here. Olaf Kabatsky, he can get in the bloody bin. Jenny Gassama will keep him. Dominic Iorfa might get a year out of him, whatever. Pierce Charles will keep him. Sissoko, bin. For me, well, yeah, I'm on the fence with. Let's have a look. Ben Hamer, what did we be signing for in the first place? Chalobah, keep him. Armstrong, keep him. Defo, stupid, sexy Michael Heckway. Jamal Lowe, bin. Max Lowe, keep him. Windass, still fence, fancy, keep him. Ike Ugbo, mega bin.
Valerie,
on,
Valerie.
I kind of like Jan Valerie.
Yeah, I do actually. I think he's been a good signing.
Can that be this week's clip? Clip that.
clip that. Oh, but I might be able to. We're going to replace him with next year. Oh, we're getting rid of.
Right, and time's going on. We've got a final question in from Mr. J. Hang on, let me pull this up. Mr. J, obviously we've seen in the last week online and thing there's been Simon with a Y from 1867 News has put out quite a few tweets and things that is Mr. J's asked. Do you back the Enough is Enough campaign that Simon from 1867 News has put out regarding Mr. Chansiri? As a fan base, we must stay together. What's your thoughts on this, Stephen? Go with you first.
Oh, you come to me first.
Oh, sorry,
the tricker. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know why it happened when it happened, and I know that the interview that came out was done, and there was a conversation around it being pre-planned. It felt like when I watched the interview, and I listened to it. I listened back to it. It felt to me like there was a lot of stuff that was very current in the sense that it felt that there was a lot of frustration in there around the Derby game going on. I thought that was quite prominent in the conversation that was being had. I think one of the underlying things that was being said was we're not happy in terms of the trajectory that we're on and the way that the club is currently being run. I'd wholeheartedly agree with that. There are things that need to change. I absolutely believe that we need to change the things that are happening in the club. Do I have an answer? No. Do I think that whole collectively going out there and sort of saying this needs to change and starting to put out information, is it productive? Not necessarily. Do I support the argument that there needs to be a change? Yeah, of course I do. I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that the chairman is the root of all evil in terms of the all-seeing, ever-loving, mother-trucking bastard that people make him out to be at the time. He's been ill-advised. I've said this, we've said this. He's been ill-advised at time, and I think he's chased his tail a lot with the things that he's done based on poor judgment and poor advice that has been given 7-8 years ago in terms of the money that he's outlaid, and he's been making up for that ever since. From an objective point of view, what do I want to see? I would like to see him better advised in the earliest instance. I'd like to see us in the summer say, right, we've got a board that are coming in and going, right, let's give him somebody to talk to. Let's give him somebody to give him some advice. Let's give him somebody that can sound some ideas off. And let's give him somebody that will make those footballing decisions for him. What that looks like in the long term, I don't know at the moment. Simon's heart is in the right place, and this isn't me being negative towards the interview that took place. It's not at all. I think it's raised some valid points. However, I think we still need to be very careful about the whole Chansiri out sort of debate, discussion, conversation, because I don't think it's something that is as straightforward as that. The man, for all his faults, still puts in a shitload of money into our football club. And I think we just need to be very, very careful of what we ask for, what we're expecting, what we want, what we're demanding. These guys, the people that we're talking about at the moment, will say that they've got information that will say that we've got a consortium, a conglomerate. People are going to come in and they're going to give us this, that, and the other. That's great, and if that's right, brilliant. However, because I don't know about that and I'm not informed, I don't want to sit on the internet and I don't want to sit on social media and say this needs to happen, that needs to happen, the other needs to happen. What I do know is that we've got a chairman that I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. And instead of campaigning for lots and lots of change and saying that this could happen and this will happen, and I'm ITK and I've got this information, what I'd rather have as a sort of a wish list, if you like, is for me to just go, in the short term, let's speak to Chansiri and let's see if we can make the best of a difficult situation in the short term to see if he can do things better himself.
If you had a corner shop, Stevie, and you put Freddo's up to £1, and there was a geezer outside going, hey, don't go in there, his Freddo's are rate expensive. Don't go in there. And they're telling you, don't you go in there, don't go in there. and then he started chucking tennis balls into the corner shop, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? And I understood why 1867 group were a little bit, they tried, and this is going to sound insane. They actually forced some change. I was in the internet on Saturday, Twitter or X on Saturday was awash with this big long thread of conversations, and there was a few things that kind of picked out for it. There was a geezer said, who are you in this? There was another geezer that said, you're just the next one in the line. Like we had Wednesdayite 20 odd 30 years ago. We've had 1867 group, and now it's just his turn. And then there was one that said, do you not feel that you're undermining what 1867 group tried to do? Like, you think it's your turn. You're not complaining, right? So I'm going to give it a go, which I kind of thought was a bit valid. Like, because there's an element of what's your role here? Do you know what I mean? I don't understand his role outside of a Twitter account. And I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm trying to talk about it as it is. Like Rob and Jim were a couple of lads that managed to garner some support from a corner of the fan base. I think where they lost it is where, and this thread said it, is where they started goading people, where they started saying, I can't believe that you're not with us. And then there were other people piling on. I think Jeff, who's been on the show, got involved with it and said, this is the chairman you deserve, because they didn't want to, some people don't want to go to football and they don't want to just get involved in all that shit, right? Tickets are expensive, but the season tickets work out at 25 quid a game. I remember doing the maths on it for a meme I did last year, and I went, shit, they're only 25 quid a game. Like, you know what I mean? I was actually like, they are expensive, but they want us to buy season tickets, and it's a business ploy to sell more season tickets rather than buy games on the fly. Now, as the football kind of dwindles out towards the end of a mid-table season, you sat there thinking, well, these ad hoc tickets on the day tickets aren't gonna fly out. So I can see why he kind of wants to flog them season tickets. I actually understand it. You know what I mean? I can see that. But because Yorkshire and Sheffield specifically is so well ingrained into they're not going for the football anymore, a lot of them. A lot of them are going because it's habit. They get to see their pals. They get to see their family. They don't want to get involved in all this. They just want to see the football and go and experience the experience, which is why I feel Jim and Rob probably, I think they realized at some point that we're trying to pull people out of their comfort zone. And then I think that what Simon's done is he's come in, not Simon with a Y. I think what he's done is come in and position himself to try and pick up what they put down. And because that was the most vociferous one, the tennis balls and the banners and the stuff like that, that was the biggest one that I can remember in recent years, right? And I think Simon's trying to ride that on the crest of a wave a little bit, but I don't know what his role is. And then listening to it, when he said, I've got 3 options for you, and one of them was, it was on this thread, one of them was fly to Bangkok and I'll tell you how it is. Something like that. Like one of the options he gave was, you fly me to Bangkok and I will tell you what you're doing wrong with the business. Because there is an element of, hey, rich fella, you're not spending your money right. Like, what's his role here? However, I need to be diplomatic and I need to be balanced, because I'm not one of those Donald Trump Brexit kids where I could just sit in one camp or the other. Does change need to happen? Yes, it does. Do I feel that change has happened over the last couple of years? Yes, it has. Do I feel we're paying the prices for some terrible decisions that we made 8 years ago? Yes. Did the chairman warn us 8 years ago that if we didn't get promoted, we would be in some financial trouble? Yes, it did. Did we try and cheat by overvaluing our stadium? Yes, we did. So it kind of flip-flops. It's not as black and white as people would have you believe. But then there's all these cryptic tweets coming out saying, "Oh, I can't believe what you won't believe what I
heard last night."
Right? And then there was one about the kit. The only reason that we're selling the Macron kit cheap is because
rats.
Is because we've not paid the bill to Macron. Now the way these deals work is that things go up for tender. It's called they go up for tender, right? People bid for the privilege of printing your kit and we pick the best ones and stuff like that. Yeah, what bill? The fuck are they talking? I don't understand. Someone's going to have to explain to me why we have a bill that we haven't paid to Macron unless we've bought some stock and we haven't paid them for it. However, that is a legally binding contract. Whether he pays it next week, whether he pays it next month, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me on the pitch. But what we're doing, we're complaint layering. You know, like a Karen in a restaurant where they go, shit, I didn't order rocket leaf. And she knows full well she could just take the rocket leaf out of her sandwich. But what she'll do, she don't want her complaint to sound flippant. So she'll go, and it's cold in here, and the heating's not very hot in here, is it? It's cold. And he was a bit surly to me when I came in. And it's all shit in here, innit? And the wine weren't very nice. And all of a sudden, because you want to make a big complaint out of something small, and that's the way it comes across to me right now. Now, if there's salient arguments instead of cryptic tweets, I'll be like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Change needs to happen.
Exactly
I understand
that.
it.
Exactly that.
But there's not enough information for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, Ash. Can I just to sort of specify where I am with that last statement that Dan's made? You've asked the question where we're talking about something now that we are speculating on stuff that we don't have as a group here now tonight. Enough information to say this is me, this is where I am. To Dan's point
about rumours.
Yeah, exactly that. And for me, if somebody says, right, this is what's happened, and everybody's got a friend who knows somebody else who can get you a source from the man, yeah, we're not going to sit here and go that we know Dave Ponchanseri and we have got a direct line to him or anything like that. So it's pointless me going, right, I can interrogate him and have these conversations. I simply can't do it because I don't have that opportunity. I'd love the opportunity to sit down, and I did ask him a question at the Fact That the Fans Forum. However, until you have that clarity around what's going on, it's difficult as a social media outlet to sit here and go, this is what we need to do, and as a fan base, we need to be up in arms about this, that, and the other. We can't do it.
You know, we sound like. We sound like Joe and Alex when you know when they go, bloody hell, Joe, do some reporting, and Joe replied back with, we'll report when there's some fucking news.
When there's something to talk about. And the one last bit I'll say is it's been really interesting. It's not the same sort of level and the same sort of parameters or anything like that. But if you look at from a model, and people will talk about clubs being up for sale and this, that, and the other, we've got to be careful about what we wish for and what we ask for and so forth. And you only have to look at Manchester United. And Man United are an entirely different entity to Sheffield Wednesday. They're a they're a multinational conglomerate that everybody's all about. They're the biggest English football club in the world on a global scale. We will never be anywhere near them. It's just the way that the world goes. But they've had a takeover. Jim Radcliffe's come in. He's doing similar things on a slightly different scale to where we are. Do you know what I mean? Season ticket prices are going up. Redundancies are happening. They're cutting the food bills. They're cutting corners left, right, and centre. And at the same time, they're looking at raising opportunities to get this ridiculous.
And their games are 70 quid a pop, 70 to 90 pounds.
You look at it, and I get it, it's Man United, but they're Old Trafford's in free fall at the moment, isn't it, in terms of the structural?
Well, they're going to put it in the Butlin skyline, aren't they? They announced.
Yeah,
they announced the other week.
Do you know what I mean? So just let's just temper everything with a little bit of caution in terms of what we're asking for here. If somebody could come in, what's the dream? You absolutely want a Premier League version or a Championship version of. Go on, say it for me. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney coming in and doing the Welcome to Wrexham. Welcome to Wednesday would be absolutely fantastic. It'd be great. That's a dream, you know. And people will argue that let's sell the club. And nobody's going to be interested in buying the club. Blah blah blah. Of course, people are going to be interested in buying us. Of course, they are, because we're a business that people might want to get involved in. But beyond that, once we do look at selling, and once we do get to a situation where we've sold, what's it going to look like after? And us thinking that there's a quick fix where somebody's going to come in, and Simon may very well listen to this. I've got no ill feeling towards Simon. I shared the forum with him. Nothing absolutely negative whatsoever. Our common interests are similar. We both want the best for the club, etc. It's not us having a go at him or anything like that. But if he knows something that we don't know, I will only comment on it when I know what he knows. Does that make sense?
Exactly that.
So
We all know a fella. It's akin to, you know what I mean? You know, if you were the fella sending out the news and going, hey, you'll never guess what Chancery's done here. You'll never guess what he's done here. No one's ever sending out, hey, do you know what? He sent my wife a box of flowers the other day because she's not been very well. It's like your girlfriend or your wife searching for symptoms of what's up with her on Google. No one's ever gone on Google and gone, hey, I took this tablet. It was brilliant. Works out all right. Okay, thanks, bye. They've always ended up with 3 heads by the end of it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Go on, Ash. Wrap it up.
Sorry, Ash. I've talked over you for an hour and a half.
No, you're all right. Yeah, thanks for that.
He's going to be so angry at me.
No, I'm not angry at all. Why would I be angry at you, Stevie? Why would I be angry? I messed up a little bit because I had some stuff sorted and it's not worked. So you'll have to forgive me.
Tell us about the Easter egg drop, Ash. Go on.
I'll just offer up my 10 seconds worth of things since you've just spoke for 15 minutes or something, whatever, without letting me have a chat. But, I don't mind,
you were angry.
No, I'm not angry, mate. No. Yeah, I mean, it's not this. All right. We'll just get on then, shall we?
No, it was you going. It was you going. We're going on for ages. Then you gave it a big preamble. Then he chirps in with told you were angry. Then you're going, I'm not angry. You could have said it and gone by now. We could all be in bed.
And if you'd have shut up, I would have. So there we are. Your fault. Anyway, if anyone's been on social media today, you would have seen this announcement come up. So the Bethany, who is on been on the podcast as well, and the Women's Supporters Group member, she is organised with Her Game 2 and EA Sports a chance for women and children to go to their first Sheffield Wednesday match. So up on the screen now, you will see a QR code. If you scan that QR code or see it on social media, if you're listening to this, go through, put your details in, and you can apply to be able to go to your first football match, which I believe is the Hull City game on the 12th. Yes, on the 12th, I believe.
Fifth.
It's the 12th then, Oxford. So it's Oxford game on the 12th. So apologies. So there you go. So we've, oh, Jesus, Dan, bloody hell. You can tell where he's not hosting, can't you?
It's still more succinct than when I'm hosting, mate. I must have it.
So get yourself on there and apply for some tickets so you get to go. Also, as Dan just mentioned, we have our annual Easter egg drop. So currently we haven't even started it for collecting the games. We've got over 200 eggs. So we are well on already to beat last year's 659, I think it was. So, if anyone's coming to the Hull City game, Oxford United game, we will be outside the mega store collecting your egg donations. And for every donation, there we go. Look at that. He's even put the other one in. For every donation, you will be put into a prize draw to win £75 voucher at the mega store. So, unfortunately, the 50% off has finished now. But thank you very much. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us. Excuse me. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Steve. Everyone, like, click, subscribe, comment on the videos. Thank you very much. And we will be back next week with a normal episode of the Wednesday Week. Ciao.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday Week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.